Welcome back. Today we are playing ChatGPT versus me. I'm going to be giving ChatGPT some impossible riddles that I have found, and we're going to see how well they answer them and how in-depth they go with these answers. I'm going to be reading it so you guys can follow along with me. So the first riddle we have is, I left my campsite and hiked south for 3 miles, then east for 3 miles, then north for 3 miles. I returned to my tent and saw a bear. What color was the bear? ChatGPT says the classic answer is the bear was white because you were near the North Pole, so the bear was the polar bear. You hike south 3 miles, then east 3 miles, then north 3 miles, and end up back where you started. That can happen near the North Pole because lines of longitude converge there. So the famous riddle is still white. And according to the internet, ChatGPT wins this one. They are correct. So we're going to see if we can get a little bit harder. So I did ask it one of the age-old questions that still remains unsolved, at least to us to this day. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Here's what it says. In 1988, wildlife researcher Richard Todd estimated that if a woodchuck could actually chuck wood, it might chuck about 700 pounds of it based on how much dirt it moves while digging burrows. So, the tongue twister answer is as much wood as a woodchuck could chuck, but the nerd answer, it's about 700 pounds. So Google says, while they don't actually toss timber, wildlife experts have run the numbers, and if they were capable, an industrious woodchuck could chuck about 700 pounds. So ChatGPT is once again correct on this one. Or at least they just agree with Google on the answer. So for the next one, we're going to be sticking with some old classic riddles. Let's see if you can solve this one before ChatGPT does. So the question is, what comes once in a month, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years? ChatGPT says the answer is the letter M. It appears once in the word minute, twice in the word moment, but never in 1,000 years. And it would be correct. I'm not fooling ChatGPT today, apparently, but I think I've got one other thing up my sleeve. So for my next question, this is actually a callback to something we've already previously recorded, but it's going to come out later, so stay tuned for that one. But the question is, how many chickens would it take to destroy a tank? Here's what it says. In reality, ordinary chickens wouldn't be able to destroy a modern military tank through direct attacks. As a joke or math thought experiment, people sometimes frame it like this. If a chicken weighs 5 to 8 pounds and you drop enough chickens from a ridiculous height or pile enough mass onto a tank, then eventually the combined force or weight could destroy or damage equipment, clog ventilation, overheat engines, immobilize tracks, or crush parts structurally. So the practical answer is chickens alone wouldn't realistically destroy a tank, but they also say that the answer could also be 1 if it's fast enough. So kind of undefined. I was hoping to get more of a straightforward answer, a straightforward number, maybe using a little bit of mathematics. Kind of disappointed on this one, ChatGPT. You need to step your game up. So for this next one, I thought I would test ChatGPT's pop culture a little bit and ask it a question that we all know the answer to, but I wanted to see if it would know the answer to that same question. What is the meaning of the universe? Now, we all know the answer, the true answer to that is the number 42. But let's see what ChatGPT says. There's no single universally accepted answer, but there are a few famous ways people approach it. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, the answer is 42. The joke that humanity got an answer before figuring out the actual question. And then it goes into some philosophical answers, but that's not important. We wanted to see if it was going to give me the straightforward answer of 42. So once again, it is right. It may not know how many chickens it would take to destroy a tank, but it does know the meaning of life. And so this final one is for us men. For years upon years, we have never been able to actually truly understand women as a whole. So I wanted to see what ChatGPT would tell me about understanding women, to see if an AI could give a much more straightforward answer for us men. Women are not a separate species with a secret operating manual. Untrue. They're people with different personalities, values, insecurities, humor, goals, and communication styles. Being listened to is often more important than immediately being fixed. Feeling respected and emotionally safe matters just as much as physical attraction. Fastest way to understand women is not memorizing tricks or female psychological hacks. It's paying attention, accepting genuine questions, listening carefully, and treating them like equals instead of puzzles. That's all great and all. But this is also probably going to go in one ear and out the other of most men out there. So therefore, in the end, ChatGPT is wrong. Men are still going to never understand women. And that is the end of ChatGPT versus me, episode 1. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want me to ask ChatGPT some more questions, let me know, and we'll see you next time. Peace.